which team can least afford to have one of their star players opt out?
I'm going Russell Wilson here. And actually, it's obvious when you think about it. He has been the do-all player for that team, in particular offensively. Running the football, throwing the football, a franchise quarterback that has won a Super Bowl, led them there a couple of times. This offseason, they made a huge move, acquiring Jamal Adams. They gave up a lot of capital in order to make that happen. And I think it was a really good deal to acquire one of the more versatile and dynamic players defensively in the NFL. But now you add him defensively, if something happens to Russell Wilson, it goes for naught this season. So he's the guy to me. And I'm pretty sure you could go down the roster of star quarterbacks and pick a lot of different people. But Russell Wilson has been the rock for that team. Without Russell Wilson, they don't make it too far.
Jalen, I feel bad embarrassing you this bad in front of your wife because you just said it was obvious that it's Russell Wilson. To me, it's obvious that it's the MVP,
Won't be the first time.
Lamar Jackson. He threw for over 3,000 yards, ran for over 1,200 yards. The Ravens had more touchdowns, more passing touchdowns, and more running yards, and a lot of them were Lamar Jackson's than any other team. The Ravens without Lamar Jackson are nothing, and I think the Seahawks without Russell Wilson still have enough to get to the playoffs. You're wrong.
Yeah, man. You know what? I'm gonna go with Jalen on this one. Look, I'll put it this way. Look, if I've said this many different times, Seattle without Russ is probably they're struggling to be a 500 team. Struggling. They're probably a 7-9, 6-10 team without him. They don't have the same dominant defense that they've had in the past, although they're getting there. They need more pass rush. They obviously are trying to bolster the middle of this defense with the addition of Jamal Adams. And him and Quandre Diggs are going to be one of the best 1-2 safety punches in the NFL, no question about that. But on offense, behind the offensive lines that they have put together out in Seattle, which are porous at best, terrible at worst, Russell, many times, how many times have you watched Russell play and on drop back pass on third down, it looks like this. Russell, drop back and do something. Just make something happen. Because everything just turns into chaos time and time again because people just aren't getting open within the natural rhythm of the offense. And Russ is just back there running around like we run around in our front yard or in our backyard on Thanksgiving, just playing playground sandlot ball. Many times it looks like that for him. You take him away and you put Geno Smith in there, they're done. They're done. I don't care what you say. Now, in Baltimore with Lamar, obviously, if you put RG3 in there, look, RG3 can't run for 1,200 yards in today's NFL. They'd break him in half in a matter of maybe half of a game. He would be done. They'd take him out of there. But I'll tell you what, Baltimore right now, 1 through 53, that roster is stacked now. I mean, if you just say this, look, we're just going to run a heavy dose of Mark Ingram and KJ Dobson and let them two just carry the load, you probably say, well, you know what, we'll win a couple games like that. And then they've got some weapons on the perimeter. If you can just get the ball to guys, you know, like the playmakers they have, and then on defense with the additions that they've made on defense, they're going to win some games. And you know, here's another team I'll throw in there. Picture this while we're just on the topic. Picture if the Pittsburgh Steelers right now, if Ben Roethlisberger said, you know what, nah, I'm just going to rehab this arm for another year. Y'all just go ahead and let Mason Rudolph play or let Duck Hodges go ahead and play. Mike Tomlin would sit there and be like, what? I mean, they have no shot. So, I mean, there's a few. I mean, you can talk about Pat, although in Kansas City they have so many weapons. But I'll tell you what, I'm with you, Jalen, on this one. If you take Russ off of this football team, Seattle is struggling to make it 500. They're struggling right there. And this is a team that right now, based on the move for Jamal Adams, they're talking about, look, we got to be Super Bowl contenders. It's Super Bowl or bust for us, given what they gave up for sure.
I agree with Lewis. And final point, Jacoby, you know how much I love Lamar. And I can't wait until he gets one of those Patrick Mahomes deals. And by the way, Lewis, I didn't know that NFL players can sign 10-year deals until Patrick Mahomes did.
Yeah, man.
I didn't know that. Man. Right? I didn't realize that could happen.
Yeah, look, my man, Pat Mahomes right now is on a whole new level. You see what he's doing. He can do whatever he wants to do. He can do. Hey, did you see his new ride is what I want to know. You see what that new Ferrari 812 Superfast he bought? Man, it's good to be Pat Mahomes.
Yeah.
Living his best life.
It's good to be Pat Mahomes.
Hey, Lou, Lou,
Yes,
let
sir.
me just ask you this really quick before we go to break. And I know Adam Schefter was tweeting this kind of in jest, but because of your time, obviously, in the front office, NFL executives, and it's all on Twitter, he tweeted the exchange, already hitting up Adam. They're mad about the Patriots' 6 players opting out. They're saying Belichick's masterminding all of this. But in all seriousness, what do you think about New England not having 6 players already?
Yeah, it's big. And, you know, the crucial thing is that he's losing guys at the signal caller positions, in particular on defense, with Dante Hightower playing linebacker and Pat Chung playing safety. And, you know, Bill prioritizes football intelligence even more than maybe raw athletic and football playing ability. He wants you to be smart. He doesn't want you to beat yourself. And those are 2 of the smartest guys on his team. They're guys who have been in his program forever. So that's huge. But here's the one thing with Bill. Okay, Dante's getting older. Pat Chung's getting older. You see who their draft this past year? I'm not saying he knew that these guys weren't going to be there, but you see who they drafted this past year? They draft Kyle Duggar in the 2nd round, a safety out of Lenore Ryan. They draft Josh Uche in the 2nd round out of Michigan. And then they draft Anthony Jennings as well out of Alabama. Safety, linebacker, linebacker. A safety that can play the same kind of roles that Patrick Chung plays, and linebackers that can play stacked off the ball and or walk up on the line of scrimmage and rush the passer. What does Dante Hightower do? The same thing. Bill's always thinking ahead, man. He can't predict pandemics and
if
people
anybody
opting
knows
out.
what
He ain't
they're
that
doing,
great. But he's always a step
it's
ahead.
Bill Belichick.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.